$25K to $16 billion in grants for small businesses available, how to get access to them, the EIDL increases, what is going on there, PPP loans and the forgiveness, employee retention tax credit or ERC program, how you can get up to $26,000 per employee still, as well as the qualifications for certain programs is what you will want to stick around with in this video to ultimately know what you need to do to continue to build, grow, expand, and even get out of a tight pinch. Now, if you're watching me right now on the live, I would greatly appreciate you if you gave me a hashtag live in the comments or a hashtag replay if you are watching this later on so I know the time interval. One thing I want to say before I get into it, I'm going to show you on the share screen. I have a lot of information to cover. I'll try to get you out of here in about 30 minutes tops. But if you've been watching me for some time, you know how these go. And it gets more specific as time goes on, which is a lot of juicy information. But I just got back from Lake Tahoe. If you didn't know, I was vacationing there. We had our own place, Airbnb. And we went around downtown. We went into the Nevada side. We went into some of the nicest lakes there. We went to a few areas. We saw nature. We walked out. We actually saw a bear behind a trash can. We were at a restaurant at about, I want to say it was about 9 or so at night. We were recommended by the captain of our boat. We had a boat trip that we got out for about 4 hours, which was very nice. And that water is actually very drinkable. It's 99.99%, or it's very highly drinkable and it's pure. So you could honestly put your water in there or your cup in there and then take a sip of water. It's crazy to think about that. And there's also gold in the water. But we saw a bear behind the trash and it was digging up for food. And it even made that grunting sound a bear does because it couldn't get in the trash can. And it ended up just turning around and walking across the street back to where perhaps came from. But it was such an amazing thing to see. I don't know if you guys have seen a bear that close, but we literally had pulled into the parking lot. And as we pulled in, to the left of us are 2 open spaces. And we have a big cargo van where there's about 11 of us or so, 12 of us. Yeah, about that much. And so now we're parking next to that big garbage container where our driver looked to her left and she said, bear. And we immediately just looked around and we saw the bear behind. And so we just had to move out of there. And it was just a sight. But it was an amazing time overall. Went to some lakes, some parts of the lake, different areas, and got in the water. We went on the boats, had a lot of great food. I went to Hell's Kitchen and had an amazing New York strip. Oh my God, the New York strip steak. Oh, probably the best thing I've ever had. And I'm not a big steak person, but this meal was amazing. The salad, the desserts. I could spend a whole hour talking about the trip, but I don't want to get into that now. I may make one separate or I may send you guys an email if you guys are part of my broadcast. But it was an amazing time. I barbecued for everyone. I love barbecuing now. It's become something of mine that I like to do more often. But a lot of fun things. And again, that's just the gist of it. I can give you more, but let's get right into things. So if you're looking for a business grant, let me get into my share screen so I can show you what is available out there. And then we'll continue to progress. And again, if you're just joining me, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. We said that for live, Achilles live. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I greatly do. And again, like I said, I've been gone because I've been on vacation and I have a lot of work to get caught up on because I was only able to do about an hour to 2 while I was on vacation. And I did work. I know a lot of you guys are like, well, I'm on vacation. I work on vacation. I love it. I love helping you guys. And my family members, my cousins were probably looking at me like, what the heck? Why is he working? And I was the first one up. I would be up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and so forth. So I enjoy the grind of doing this. If you don't enjoy it, if you just go to a 9 to 5 and you just work for the weekends, you're not living. And I honestly say that because you're caught up in this rat race of, well, from Monday to Friday or wherever you work. And then you're just like, your brain shuts down and you go into recreational activity mode. No, I'm always like, if I don't get an hour to 2 done, I will have to do so much catch-up work. And even if I had catch-up work, it's like, I want to do it. So grant opportunities for 2022, and I'll leave this for you down below in the description. So make sure to refer to this, and it'll look fairly familiar. And if anything new has been added, I'll always put more information, and I'll show you how to get access to some other ones for startups. So these aren't a definite limit of grants. There are more, but will continue to be updated over the time. Please add this doc to your favorites via web browser or save this link, HTTPS. You see it right there for future reference. Now, one quick thing before I get into all of this. I thought about if I wanted to say this or not, but I see people always releasing grant videos. What's the new flavor of the month? What is happening with this? And it's just a huge way for them to attract an audience. And I get it, how it works, but I don't try to shoot for that at all times. You don't always see me producing another video on the latest 10K grant or the latest 15K grant. And it attracts a lot of people because of the algorithms. And I know how this works because I also have a digital marketing background. I'm a digital strategist who's helped out top companies get funding. In fact, I have kind of limited it lately, but I'm working with family right now that I need to help, and I have a few other clients. But the thing that I want to say is don't be trapped up in always getting another grant and getting another opportunity, because they're not, one, always easy to attain, and two, they come up and they go. Like, it's hard to get qualified for them, but because the people who are creating them, it attracts more of a brand to them. That's what they do it for. And they do it for the value. They care about you, yes, but at the same time, I'm not here just trying to give you a lot of hubba gabla, just trying to, talk about this specific grant 100% every single time. I will in a lot of cases, but for the majority, if you've seen my content, it's not like I'm going into every little grant. And there are times that I will, don't get me wrong, and that's good. But the thing is, grants aren't everything. And even if you're a startup, and even if you're a non-startup looking for a grant, and that's what you're hung up on because the interest rates are too high, or because you're unsure of the supply chain issue of this, and your gross receipts are low, and so forth, you're fighting for the lowest price at the end of the day. And I know the psychology of this, why business owners don't continue, or why they look at something and they go, well, it's because you're not strategic enough. You have to be strategic about how you will use your funds at the end of the day. It's not about price shopping. It's about how strategic can you be with the amount of funds that you can get approved for, and can you come back and get more? Most of the time you can. So you can go through grants.gov, and you probably won't see the open screen that I have, but I can click it and it'll bring me up to another one. It'll redirect. Hello Alice is a great one. So this is one that I've actually shown in the past specifically. So now let me come over here to show you how that one looks, and then we'll transfer back over. Also, let me know, guys, where are you tuning in from in the comment section? Are you in the States, somewhere outside? Where are you watching from right now? So hello, Alice, grow your small business. You have unique goals, challenges, and Hello Alice wants to help you get over those obstacles. Check out what Hello Alice has to offer: grant opportunities, business loans, small business savings. When I go through business loans, what I would recommend is coming through myself. You've likely filled out my questionnaire. I'll try to show you that at the end. I got to go through things. And again, I could spend a lot of time, but I want to conjoin it. And this way, when you fill out this questionnaire, you'll get a personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options. I evaluate it like crazy. I will analyze it, and I will fight to get you the best response on your best funding option and options. And I will give you a ballpark range of what you could possibly qualify for. And I'll give you all the qualifications and requirements, so you're not hung up at the end of the day on why didn't I qualify, or why didn't I receive an offer. And I'll be showing you that qualifications tab or that document that I have, and I've done it in a different video, which, by the way, if you guys have not seen that quote unquote mandatory video that I made about last week or so on everything you need to know, so you're not questioning, oh, do I qualify for this? Do I qualify for that? That one video alone will show you everything you need to know: the qualifications, the rates, the terms for different programs, the approval percentages, the examples that I've given you. So that, for me, is a mandatory video that I want to make sure every one of you watch, and not just being hung up on EIDL loans, grants, because those don't paint a clear picture. You've been spoon-fed. You've been, like, let's say, you were never rewarded well. You were just given and given and given. And that's a lot of what the EIDL loans and a lot of the PPP stuff were given. And I get there's a purpose for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying we sometimes abuse that power that they give us and think this is how it works everywhere else. But no. That's not how they work. And when I speak to business owners on a daily basis, they go, I want an EIDL loan. Can I get the SBA 7A loan? Well, you don't have the qualifications. You have too much debt. Minimal inquiries, you don't have enough of it. Your credit utilization, I'm sorry. Boop. Credit is a huge factor. You have to have over 10% profit, 15 to 20% if not. Boop. You don't have that. Okay. Well, how do I get a line of credit with my banks? Well, boop. You're only going to get approved for a certain amount of percentage, 25 to 30% or so of what you're doing annually. Maybe that's not enough, or they don't approve you for it. Wells Fargo, I have people every single day who do these things, but they're price shopping. Don't price shop. Look for being a strategic business owner. Those who are strategic, I'll tell you this, and I'll get back into the grants. Those who are strategic, and this is going to help you, even if you don't qualify for these other services. This is going to, so listen up. Be strategic about how you use your funds, but how do you become strategic? Well, I know I have a need because I just ran low on inventory. No. Go look at the bookkeeping. Go look at the accounting. Would you use an accounting software? Do you have a CPA you can talk to? How do you organize your finances, your debt schedule, your budgeting, etc.? Where's your money being allocated? Until you fully understand all of this, you're going to continue to complain and cry and bitch about everything that happens. And it's hard because you're going to be continuously fighting for the lowest price, not knowing your own finances. And I get we operate our business. We don't always do the marketing and the sales, but we operate it. We don't do the financing and the bookkeeping. But guess what? With this impending recession, guess what you have to do? You have to fully understand your accounting. It's brought me to my attention that I have to do that even more. I know it well enough, but it's like with you and everybody else, with the impending recession, with times getting harder, you not buying an ample amount of certain supply or certain products in your personal life as well as in business, and you're having to scale back. You may not have a membership with this program next month, and they may go away, or you may just get back here to help your bills and everything else. And so you have to understand your customers. You have to understand how you're getting paid, and you have to understand the financing of the business. And it's not an excuse to say, well, man, they got me a $30,000 advance and I'm paying back $300. No, I wanted something with only $1,000 a week. And well, we'd never give you something you can't handle, one. And then two, it just demonstrates you don't have a strategic purpose for your funds and you're just trying to scramble to find out. And then two, you don't maybe necessarily understand your ROI and or your long-term ROI, could be and or both. And then as well as you don't understand the bookkeeping. You don't understand the accounting. You don't understand your finances. And so now you're over here just trying to complain. And now I see how you come up with a storm. And now we're both wasting energy and time. So strap in. Right now is the best time for yourself to get educated in accounting and business and financing. That would be my number one priority for each and every one of you. Even if you're looking for grants right now, go and take care of your financial, however big or small it is, because that's ultimately what's going to matter during these trying times. So you can see from Hello Alice there, featured by Fortune, Forbes, Fast Company Inc., entrepreneur, how it works, join, share, grow, network with over 80,000 small businesses, grant opportunities. We can click there. Your number one resource for small business grants, featured grants, Tiger Global Accelerate Her Fund, Restaurant Disaster Relief Fund. Look at that. Restaurant owner, Ontario's Reach Grant Program. And the thing that I want to say too is don't be hung up if you don't get one. And if you do get it, it may not be enough. So what if you did get 10,000 here? Let me break down a quick scenario for you. I know this is going to be a very good use of your time. I've created a video not too long ago on how maybe some programs or some lenders only give you 10,000. Well, if I took 10,000 in a loan in an advance and I needed 20,000, well, do you have credit cards? You can use credit cards. Do you have a credit line hybrid program or your credit card stacking? Or do you have access to these business credit cards alone that are reporting to the Business Credit Bureau? So now you have a 10,000 limit on these credit cards or one, and then you have 10,000. So you combine the two. Perhaps you want to separate your credit cards from your loan and you're not ready to do all that. You're trying to pay off debt. You can't use it the way you want it to. I get all of this. I've been there, done that. Nothing really passes me where when we speak and you deflect a lot, you have all these certain problems, and I can help you. You just have to stop coming at it at a point of view where it's like, I'm just trying to shop for the lowest price. I'm just trying to be cheap. No, it's not about being cheap. You don't treat your business cheaply. You have to treat your business like it's going to appreciate. Not like a car. in 5 years from now, I'm going to take the loan equity out or the equity out of my car, or it's going to depreciate, so I won't get as much value in return by bang for my buck, but I know what I'm getting. That's what you have to look at this as. It's not a home mortgage, okay? The real estate market, if the home may appreciate in this amount of time, you may sell it for this amount. You may start trying to sell it at this. Well, it won't in today's market, but you're going to go backwards. So you have to understand how all this works. It's different in business financing. So just understand these parts of the equation. I'm not trying to be negative or anything. It's tough love. If it's something right now that you're like, oh man, I wish somebody would have told me that, because this guy right here is actually telling me and taking the time with me to show me and helping, because not everybody educates you. So you got to understand that. I'm not just somebody who creates EIDL loan content and grant content. I know a lot about a lot here, guys. Restaurant Disaster Relief Fund, as we said, Antares Reach Grant Program. And you can go into one of these, let's say the restaurant one, click apply there, and there'll be some instructions. Apply now, and it can be formed like this. You want to sign up first and foremost. I'll put my information in, but for the sake of this and keeping my information safe. But you want to read the information that's going to be provided for you. And then Tiger Global here, you can see apply now, complete the forms below, and it'll show you a little bit more information. And you can always see these separately too, in partnership with, and then you can click there to see more information about the programs. There's more where that came from. Meet some of our grant recipients, and you can see some proof there, and you can get some value out of it, partnerships, company, etc. Now, there's another opportunity you can check out. Let me move the over here. So the SBIR and FCTR programs is another one, and I spoke about this some time ago but it's become more relevant to me, and I've seen a lot of people coming through here, and a lot of changes as well. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. So the Small Business Innovation Research SBIR and Small Business Technology Transfer programs. Excuse me, I'm over here coughing. This is what happens when when I use my voice for an extended amount of time. I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. Are highly competitive programs that encourage domestic small businesses to engage in federal research and development, in R&D with the potential for commercialization. Through a competitive awards-based program, they enable small businesses to explore their technological potential and provide the incentive to profit from its commercialization. And you can see a little bit more there, the code and excuse me. Support scientific excellence and technological innovation and eligibility. So I'm going to quickly just go through it, and because I have to cover more information, but these programs are available. And let me bring up this other screen over here really quickly. Grants.gov, you guys already know. Likely have gone through here. I've gone through it myself. But that's all I'm going to spend a little bit of time on these, like I said, just so we can keep moving forward. And now let me open up the grant opportunities document. We'll quickly run through these and go through the next segment. So grants.gov, Hello Alice, which we just viewed, we can get access to multiple grants. Connect to Capital, D Price, Home Depot grant, Skip grant, which there was a 25K grant running. I don't think it's available at this moment, but those keep coming up, 10K, 25K. So you always want to check in with them. And I made a review of them. I believe I already released it, so I'll try to link you to them down below. USA Funding App, SBDC, Small Business Development Center, Women's Business Centers, Amber Grant, SoGal Grant, I Fund Women Grant, Invoice to Go Now Grant, minority-owned business grants. You can see I'm going to quickly just show you and then scroll down, but there are plenty of them. So when people ask me, how about a trucking business grant? There may be a specific one that I can point you to. For a majority of those, though, they are all combined. So you can go and apply for one program, and they can help just about every industry. And there will be some that are more specific. Just know that. More funding help, and then you can download my free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist, which you probably already have. Hopefully you've gone through it. If you have not, please do so. And submit a real estate funding form, business funding form, microloan programs. You can also get up to about $55,000 with microloans. And the Kiva microloan, that's another way to access it with community, private, and some other options, some other organizations. grant writing and extra resources and what I can refer you to there. And so this will always continue to get updated, and there'll be a little bit more I have to update it with. But there are also the 10 billion in grants with the state small business credit initiative program. So if you haven't seen that yet, I made a video where you can do a quick search on Google, type in your SSBCI next to it with your state, just that alone, SSBCI state, like SSBCI Washington, or you can even do the whole thing without the abbreviation, and then your state, not plus. And then right there, you can find out the listings, and there's organizations within them. And then there's another load of 6 billion in grants that have been getting released. And that's yet to be pushed out. So I'll continue to update you with that and what's happening behind all that. How it's going through Congress and through the Senate and the House, and you know how all that can go. And it's been taking funding from other programs, from the advances of the EIDL, and putting it into this one, and so forth. Now, let's segment into the next part and speak about, let's see, I have the screen open here. Okay, so EIDL really quickly before I go into the qualifications. No new movement on the EIDL loans, EIDL increases. So for a lot of you who are asking me, and I get it on a daily basis, hey, I can pay you to do, no, and I don't do that. I don't accept things. That would not be something to do. That's not how this works. And what you should know is that the funds have been exhausted. Even those of you who are still waiting in the queue, a lot of you perhaps haven't received that email like I spoke about on the back end, where you were supposed to submit information to be accepted and to be looked at for getting approvals. But if not, just know that there are alternative options, which I'm going to be jumping on in the next tab here to talk about these qualifications. So don't be hung up on the EIDL loan. Don't be hung up on, well, the bank didn't approve me. I went to Wells Fargo. They didn't give me a line of credit. I've been a trusted banking client with them for so long. I have a business checking account. That's not enough. You have to meet the qualifications. And if you don't have substantial amount of it, especially with the banks, you even think they're going to get you a line of credit. And a lot of these lines of credits are with the SBA. A lot of them are with the cap line programs. And so you have to understand, just because you've been a customer of Chase, a customer of Wells Fargo, Bank of America, etc., all these credit unions, does not necessarily mean you're guaranteed to get business funding. That's not how this world works. The businesses, or the banks, they make money on the interest. And if you default, guess what? They're in a bad situation now, and there are problems that occur. There's so much more than that. It's crazy. I've seen it. I see it so much. I see it every day, and I know all the bad and the good. And I literally could spend a whole another hour's worth talking about that, but I want to move forward. So PPP loan, a lot of fraudulent activity still happening. I'm seeing it a lot, and I'm hearing about it a lot, especially with people that I have connections with who have been working on the PPP loans more indirectly. And just be careful. Get your PPP loan forgiven as much as you can, as much as possible. I made a video on that. I'll try to link you to it down below. It goes into it more specifically on the steps, on how can it be forgiven, on do you even qualify for forgiveness, that I won't spend time with in this video, but check that out. The employee retention tax credit. This is one that I actually want to get on this part of the share screen to show you guys. You guys can't see it on my screen yet. I'm going to move this really quickly. 1 second. I have the HP lighting, and for some reason it just doesn't help me to do this. Okay. Let me bring this back. So I made a whole separate video to this. I'll link to you down below in the description. Perhaps a lot of you have seen it. You don't qualify, or you're already in the process. Perhaps you started it, but you haven't supplied your documentation. That's what your next step would be if you haven't. Check your emails. Go ahead, move forward with it. But if you're stalling for some reason, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. You're going to wait much longer. It already takes 6 to 12 months usually to get the funds. Now, you didn't supply the documentation. It's been past 3 months. You could have shortened that. ERC funding can be complicated. We can help. There's a little video there. The employee retention credit, you can get up to $26,000 per employee. Available for 2020 and quarters 1 through quarter 3 of 2021. Qualified with decreased revenue or COVID event, as well as supply chain issues and a mandate, government mandate, and a few other things. No limit on funding. ERC is not a loan. ERC is a refundable tax credit with payroll. And the PPP was in front of it. There were a lot of tax codes to this and a lot of complications. That's why people didn't go through this, and not a lot of people got accepted. So think about it as it not being the mainstream. Like your favorite music band, you have a rock band that's more mainstream, and then you have one that isn't. So think about it that way, but it's more complicated than that. So I'll link you to them down below in the description if you want to learn more about how to get access to the employee retention tax credit, and you don't have to repay it back again. It's not the loan. So now this is the one. Yeah. So this is kind of like the meat and the potatoes of it, believe it or not. And before you see any of this, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. So, or a little bit of a history. So what I wanted to say, let me move this out of the way. See if this is possible. All right, there it is. So I made a video on this not too long ago. And if you haven't watched that, I'll link you to it down below. That actually should be the first video you watch. I covered what I'm going to show you here, but a lot more extensively. And by the time you're done watching that one video, you will not even be asking, okay, like, what do I do? No, you will know what to do. Yes, you can speak to me for clarification. I'll usually ask you, did you watch the video or did you happen to see the email response I gave you? No, not yet. I've been busy. I didn't find it. It wasn't in my folders. Yeah, did you look in your spam box? Did you happen to look in your promotions, your social tab? Did you see the text that I sent you? I actually followed up on a call, which I didn't need to or didn't really want to bug you if that's how you looked at it, which I'm not bugging you because I gave you time. I just had to reach out because you never reached back out. No feedback. And I don't hassle you. I don't pressure you. I talk like a normal human being. I care about you as a human first and then as your business second. That's ultimately the truth. You can speak to a lot of people that I help. So what you have to understand is there are qualifications to each and every one of these programs. Not every one of them is created equally, not every lender, not every brokerage. So you have to understand what they're asking for, not in, well, how much funding can I get? Not the most basic questions you can answer yourself. More of what does it actually take? How much can I get approved for? What does my underwriting process look like? So I'm going to be getting into some of that right now. So there's a specific service, and this can be relatable to plenty across the board. For a cash advance, perhaps you've heard of a merchant cash advance where you get a future percentage of your credit card and even debit card receivables. So you get also deducted that. So let's say on one day you make a lesser amount of sales, you get less deducted, and then you make more in sales one day, then you get taken out more. It can be a fixed percentage, it can be a variable. Some are hybrids, which I actually recommend 100% more because you know what's getting taken out of your account. It's not fluctuating, so you're not having to be more concerned about cash flow gaps if you're not already, or if you are. So you know you can handle those repayments, and it can be a medium to high repayment. And the thing is, again, you don't look at the interest. You look at the term. Can I get it long enough? And if it's not, okay, so what is my repayment? I can repay back $300 and I'm paying back $27,300 a day. This is over $1,000 something per week. I'm going to be paying about $4,000 plus per month. And I'm doing about $50,000 per month. So consistently speaking, and my average daily bank balance is about $3,000 a month or $3,000 a day. And I've been doing it consistently. And you're still fighting. It's like you have an average daily bank balance that's high enough to determine that your repayment is going to be $300 a day. If you're keeping an average daily bank balance of $100, how in the world will we ever give you $300 to repay back? Let me know in the comment section. Does that make sense? Let me know yes or no. And I'll also be getting into this a little bit more here. Now let me jump back into the share screen. So this is for one specific service, but this can carry across all boards. So do you have a business checking account? First and foremost, must be in the name of your business, not a personal account that you use for business. Unless you are a 1099 independent gig worker, you may be able to, because we don't look at business checking accounts. You can use your personal checking account for business, and there are no credit checks, no credit score requirements in that case. So you have that ability, but you're only going to be getting up to $5,000 in funding, when as opposed to you needing $20,000 and perhaps you have 15,000 average monthly revenue, but you cannot qualify for 20,000 or even looked at that because you have a personal checking account that you're using for business. But you could get up to 5,000. Just go open up a business checking account with your bank. Go to Chase, go to Wells Fargo, ask them to open up a business checking account. There's online ones. You can do that as well, but get it done. Even if you have a personal account, right now, what's most important is for you to protect your personal and business assets. What I mean by that is your personal credit score, number one of everything. Protect it. Don't take on more debt. Don't take on more than you can chew, and you cannot make those repayments. You cannot repay it fast enough, because a lot of lenders and a lot of these programs that may just look at credit, especially with lines of credits that are becoming harder to qualify for, it's because of a credit issue. And if you're like this, minimal inquiries is you're too high above, and I see it every day, all the files that come in, and you see all the credit utilization just being too high. Your debt to income ratio is usually the number one. And you can say the subsets of the credit utilization and all that. But that's a huge concern. So pay off as much as you can. A lot of these will not look at building, look at the business credit. Like cash advances, they can look at just personal credit. They won't report to the business credit bureaus. We're just looking at your FICO, usually Experian. If we look at your consumer credit reports. But we don't give you such of a, it's more of a cash flow based. So we look at your revenue as opposed to just credit and or collateral. We don't look at those two. And other programs are cash flow, collateral, and credit, like the SBA loans. So you have to be understanding of how these all work. Let me get back into this. Online banking, is it set up? We're in the digital age now. That goes without being said. Set it up. Don't be that person who says, well, you telling me I have to upload a voided check, copy of my driver's license and my bank statements, and I can't show you it by just taking a picture, or I can't send it to you on the mail? No. How do we verify that's even you? I had a person the other day, literally, like looked over the qualifications of one program, getting a personal loan. And I see this a lot. Like, why are you sending me a snapshot that doesn't even look like your tax return, a bank statement? You just showed me a half shown picture of something, and now I'm wasting energy and time asking you to send me it back the right way. And then they came up with the complaint of, oh, if you're going to ask for this information from me, I'm just going to go to another lender. Okay, I didn't have to say anything else. I just gone my way. But you know what I did out of courtesy to that person to help them is, hey, just so you know, I'm leaving you this message so you have an understanding when you move forward that all lenders will be looking at the information this way, not the way that you want it to be, in a very nice way, not in a very aggressive way, or not even in an aggressive way at all, but because you don't understand. That's what I'm here for as an expert. I do this every day. I look at bank statements every day. I look at tax returns every day. I have my underwriters that I personally have relationships with, that I have business relationships with, that I have lenders that I speak to on a daily basis, private, non-private lending options, personal and business connections, and so much more. It goes on and on. And every single time we get together, we talk about how people just don't want to stay on top of what they need. So get that done. You're not transferring funds from multiple bank accounts and not going from personal to business checking, because this does not count as true deposits or organic deposits. That meaning not natural ACH, cash, checks, etc. So when you're transferring from multiple accounts, let's say you have a Zelle or you have a Square, make sure you're putting that into your business checking account. We're not using a personal account for business. You're using that format. And if you can send it directly into your business checking account, do it that way. And so when you're transferring from personal to business checking, we won't always count that at majority, like 100% of the time, we don't count that as true deposit. So some of you can be telling me you're doing $50,000 a month, yet you're transferring from a personal checking account to your business checking account, and you transferred $50,000. Well, let's see, you only put, none of that is actually revenue, or you will put $10,000 directly in a certain way. It's only $10,000, and $40,000 of that is not deposits, if that makes sense. So be careful of what you're doing. And when I say multiple bank accounts and you're transferring, that doesn't necessarily mean like ACH and that's bad and all that. What I mean by it is, if you have if we can't verify where those deposits are coming from, like it's being transferred from one person to the next consumer. So then it's like, it looks like you're manipulating your bank statements from the lender, and maybe you don't intend to do it that way, but that's how we see it. So this is a huge one. No more than 5 non-sufficient funds or negative days in any of the last 3 months. So that meaning no bounce checks, okay, none of that, or too many of them. You have negatives in the account, you went under your starting, your ending bank balances. Perhaps you are depositing a certain amount, but you're withdrawing more than you should. Why is more money going in, or why is less money going in and more money is coming out? Why is there many transactions that don't make sense? And you have to be careful about that. Overdrafts, right? Bounce checks, overdrafts, etc. You have too many of them. So one thing that I do want to add on to this is average day. Well, I'll just put it right here. Average daily, and I want to put it, average daily bank balances. Okay. Now this is a huge part. I already spoke about this earlier, and a lot of you don't have healthy average daily bank balances. Well, I'm doing 50,000 in deposits. Well, what is your revenue? My actual revenue is 40,000. What is your average daily bank balance? Oh, I have 100. So you're making 40,000 in revenue. You're depositing 50,000, but you only have $100 in your average daily bank balance. And this is stuff that I calculate, or you can just see it on a lot of these days. The bank statements already tell you average daily bank balance up. But there's more to that, and I do my math, and I do the numbers on Excel spreadsheets. And so I see these things, and I calculate the mean, the average, the mode, and I see, and I have to know that even before it gets submitted to the lender. So it doesn't go past me. And don't manipulate bank statements, which we're going to get into in a moment. But average daily bank balance, that example, you're doing 40,000, you're only keeping $100 in your account. And I apologize, guys, if it's dark. There's lighting here. It's actually sunny in Vancouver, Washington. You're like, whoa, it gets sunny there. It is summertime. It's supposed to be a hot day today, about in the 90s and above. So I'm going to go and enjoy it. But also just understand that your average daily bank balance has to be healthy. If you have 40,000 in revenue, but you only have 100, even 1,000 in average daily bank balance, you can't afford to pay back more than $1,000. Or there's other calculations we make between 60 to 18%, and I'm not going to get into all those, of what you can repay back. But if you're only keeping 100, you're depositing 40,000, we can't trust you. We don't know. Okay, we know what the transactions tell us in your bank statements, like withdraw, transactions credited, debited, boom, 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 this amount. And I go through it all. Like I can see it, and then I go through all the transactions. And so when I see your average daily bank balance being lower, very, very low, which is going to be usually when compared to your deposits and your revenue, can't really compare the two. But if it's too low, then it's hard for us to say, hey, we're going to give you 50,000 like you were asking. You may have qualified for 50,000, but because you have an average daily bank balance of 100, we can't even give you 20,000. We can't even give you 15,000, barely 15,000, because you're not being able to keep more per day average. More is going out. And then on top of that, you have bounce checks, non-sufficient funds, too many of them, negative days. It's like there are a lot of things, and I get it. COVID has done a number on a lot of us, and we're kind of getting over that hump now, where a lot of businesses have been opening up, especially here in my community. And I speak to them. I see this, and I say it to them, and I direct them, like you guys, to my content. It's no different. Oh, you want my card? If I have a card, here it is. If you want to find out more about me, here, write this down. Can I actually send you a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist? Can I send you this video? It'll clear up everything that you need to ask, so we can avoid a phone call. I don't mind getting on a phone call. It's just, if you view this content, this will be more specific to what you need on top of what I would have said on a phone call. So that's why it's very important. Now, let me get back into the share screen here. And again, all the information will be down below for you guys in the description. So average daily bank balance, keep it clean. So another one, if you're doing 50,000 in deposits, but 40,000 in average monthly revenue, or just on your lowest month, and you have an average daily bank balance of like 1,000 and above, that's better. If you're doing 3,000, oh, you're doing 5,000, 10,000, whoa, like that is like phenomenal. That's like getting into the ranges where we can actually get you a better amount of funding. Everything else looks clean, and yeah, it's where we want it to be. Well, maybe we'll get you 150% of your average monthly revenue. We'll get you the most amount of approval, or up to 200%, whatever service this is. Are you doing 15,000 per month? And it depends on the service. It can be 20, 30,000, depends on what lenders. Each of the last 3 months, or it can be 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 4 months. But That's what would be asked for in a lot of these low documentation services, where all we ask for are bank statements, about 3 months, a voided check, a copy of your voided check, and or a voided check, excuse me, and a copy of your driver's license. And if you don't have a voided check, you can go to your bank, and you can also, if you have the checks, I have people do this every day. Literally, when I ask for a voided check, they're unsure about it. This is what milk does. I had granola and cereal with milk in it. It sometimes gives me those acid refluxes. So bear with me. I appreciate you guys. I do. But when now I lost my train of thought there. Yes, voided check. So with the voided check, you can just write the words voided with a pen across the top or across in the middle where it's supposed to say voided. Voided. Void. There you go. And just send me a snapshot, and I can forward it over to the lender with your bank statements as well as your copy of your driver's license. And or with these online applications, a lot of the times they ask for you to upload information. And you can upload the statements there and everything we need, and we'll see it on our back end. It's very safe and secure. In fact, I'm going to release a video here soon on a platform that asks you to link your banking verification or your banking account. And it's very friendly, safe and secure, encryption. It's perfect. So for those of you who have started an application with me but haven't continued forward, I know a lot of the reasoning is because of that. You don't want to continue because they're asking you to link your banking information. And why can't we just submit you 3 months of bank statements? Well, as I've said before, we can't manually look through every file. It just doesn't work that way. We can verify by looking at everything just there and then and there by linking, but others will. Others will ask for your bank statements where we can manually look at it. Those that don't get manually looked at, a lot of them get disapproved. A lot of them go into complaining, and a lot of them go into collections, defaulting. Oh, the list goes on and on. So it's not worth the energy and time for these expert underwriters to underwrite every one of those files manually. So just please bear with us when that happens. And it's very safe and secure. So if you don't do that, then you can refer to our other service where you can be doing a certain amount in funding, and you may qualify for that one. And I listed some of those here. And if you have $5,000 a month plus, you can qualify for a certain service up to $25K, doing less than $5,000. Yeah. Doing less than $5,000, but $3,000. There's a gig worker funding, and I'll leave you that information down below. Current loan consideration. Oh, right here. You're depositing frequently and consistently at least 3 times plus per month over the last 90 days or so. And it can vary by lender, but if we're looking at 3 months of bank statements, if we're 4 months of bank statements, we'd be looking at 120 days and so forth. But for 3 months of bank statements, we need you to have at least 3 plus deposits into your account. The more the better. You can get about 20 deposits or more, 20 working days in a month on average. Okay. And a lot of people will say 21, 22, 20 on average, which actually helps you when we talk about repayments. So 3 deposits plus, not 2 and then 1 or 3, 2, 3. And there are cases where you can get by with that, but not a lot, especially some that will look for 5, if not 7 plus deposits. And if you have 1 deposit, but the other ones are more than 3 or 3 and above, but your revenue is so high, it's like you just were down because of this and you have a reasonable explanation, then it may work. But not unless you have stability in your business, then you cannot expect that. If you have a current loan consideration, if you have a current capital advance, the amount you still owe will be taken into consideration as well as a business loan. And cause a reduction in your approval amount. More funds, second and fourth positions may be available. If you may have an existing cash advance, which you may or may not, it will cause a reduction if you do in what you can get. Even if you had more positions, you may not get anything at all. This goes the same as with all business loans like cash advances. But if it's idle, then that you have only, then it's okay. They are not correlated and shouldn't cause a reduction, with an asterisk over that, because the lenders usually get money from the banks. Banks work with the SBA. Now you have all these other things happening around all that with the IRS, Treasury departments, and ways you can get access to grants and so forth, business loans and equity. Now, the banks have capital reserves that are being limited. They're not able to just get money anymore being pushed to them. So what do they do right now? They're actually holding these accounts. Certain businesses that they have more relationships with are getting funding first and foremost, more than anybody else who's a new client. And depending on the industry, you may not get into the amount you wanted. The maximum is coming down. So perhaps where in the contracting world, you would have been approved for 18 months. If you had this kind of revenue for 150,000, now you're getting somewhere about half of that. Or maybe you're getting 125,000 with lesser terms. But again, it comes down to your repayment, and this is going to help you. This is the part of the impending recession that we're getting into in our economic structure, and then our price elasticity. Excuse me. I went through college and I studied economics and microeconomics. Well, I had those classes as well as business and sciences. I was trying to go for chemistry, like chemical engineering at one point. Then I went over to business, and that's kind of what opened up my world a lot more when I realized that's the option. I just loved chemistry, but I didn't see it. And there's a whole another story to all this. But anyways, just understand that the positive net outcome, not only for yourself, but myself out of all of this, is you're going to be bootstrapping. You're going to be understanding that you have to build a stronger relationship up with your customers. And if you're not doing that right now, and if you're just trying to spend money on ads and you're just trying to pump money out, it may work, but you're going to see lower retention as well as less purchasing. So don't rely on those only to be the source of income that you generate. And this is stuff that happens in my business. I'm not just saying it because I heard it. I have the data to prove it. But what you have to understand too is we're going to start getting a better understanding of my finances. So you're saying that I'm budgeting 25,000 that I'm not even using. Only 10,000 of this is going into my inventory for the last 3 months. And I'm going to need an additional 20,000. Well, I have 25,000 here in reserve. Whoa. And I make how much? I make a double, triple. Okay. 15% of this, of the 100% of my pie goes into this. So if I spent this amount to acquire my customer, and if I spent this amount, if I had a business loan, a positive debt, then I know I'm going to double and triple my money. And so I'm going to take my inventory equation here, and I'm going to have extra capital reserve of 25,000 because I just made 40,000 here. So you start doing all the numbers, and this is stuff that I do a lot. And I've done this for other businesses as well. So let me move back into this screen, and then I'll let you guys go here shortly. So also, don't have issues with financial fraud. I get people every day. Michael, help me. We've spoken before, and I've told them they can't come back and get funding for certain reasons, and they still heckle me. They still, well, get me a loan. Well, give me an advance. Well, I spoke to you already on why you can't get it. Why do you keep coming back to me and wasting your energy and your time, especially mine, because I don't have enough time in the world to spend it going over this with you over and over again, which you're just trying to neglect and not getting through. And I don't mind getting the information across to you over and over. I love doing that. Don't get me wrong. It's just, and I love it because usually you have to hear something 7 to 11 times to really understand it and to take the action on it. So it's fine. And then past default and past default judgment in place. If this happens, just about 100% of the time, you can't get funding online again. Specific services and other ones as well, because lenders have communication with one another, and so they know this. Submitted altered bank statements to another lender, and coming back up here, there may be one lender who says, "Hey, I'll give you 10,000, but you have to pay it back to me in 3 months. Prove to me that you can pay this 18,000, or you don't ever get funding ever again. And if you don't pay it back to me, I get to seize your car." And then we second think that, and we're like, see, that's how you were in the beginning. P.S. If you fix all these issues and you previously applied for funding, you can wait 30 days to do it again. Usually that's what it takes, is 30 days. So let me open up this last document, and then we're going to get going. And watch the other video where you're going to see some of this as well, but I go into it even more depth. And I already spoke about your banking activity, how it can be leading you in the wrong direction and getting declined for a business loan advance forever. Your banking activity may be leading you to do this: transferring your funds between multiple accounts, which from a lender's point, you are manipulating your bank statements. Whether you don't think you are, and may not be, but this is how it stands. Therefore, most of your funds are not deposits. Instead, they are transfers from your other bank accounts, which thus equals low volume after the fact. And one thing that I wanted to say is, even when you have multiple business checking accounts, which is fine, a lot of us do, which I do, and you just have one for equipment, you have one for marketing and advertising, payroll. It's a way for you to organize. And once you grow, usually I see this in businesses that are doing over six figures per year, even below six figures. That's still the thing. And people more specifically who are doing over six figures or six figures and above per month, even below that, that's possible. But you want to categorize every part of your business and how you handle your finances and seeing what's going into these accounts. Whether you have to adjust it quickly, you can visually see it and know what's happening without having to go through one and seeing, oh, this is happening here. And see, now by the time you're done, it's like, I can't like put this into my system easily. I couldn't extract the information. And there's a lot more with accounting and so forth. So you have to understand that we can accept it even if you have multiple business checking accounts, but lead with your primary checking account that you generate the most amount of revenue in. And then we'll ask for those other accounts to look at. And we may be, and it's actually a majority of the time. So you supplied us with 3 months of bank statements here, but we also want to see 3 months of bank statements there, 3 months of bank statements there, or four to six, however much is being asked, and we'll look at them to make sure everything looks the way it needs to be. So back to this document. Or perhaps the industry, or which does equals low volume after the fact. Oh, and perhaps add on the industry you're in and it looks even worse. This is all more of an issue for those who have a business checking account. And if you don't have a business checking account, I spoke about the 1099 funding. What's the best option? Perhaps a personal loan you use for business if you have strong enough credit, because we value strong credit history as opposed to cash flow. But we still have to look at and see what you'd qualify for. And if you were expecting it all in one take and can't come back time and time again, if you have more, then it may not even work for you. So no, be careful of transferring your funds. Just don't do it. Just have one main checking account, main business checking account, I should say, for your sales deposits, and this won't be an issue. Personal checking account to business, I already spoke about this. Depositing frequently matters into your business checking account. So if you're having an account from somewhere else, like Zelle transfers and stuff like that, make sure you're depositing into your business checking account. Move that into your business checking account. Do it as fast as possible. All right. So I think that will cover everything. Yeah, let me move this. Okay. So did you guys learn something from this 52 plus minute video? And you were happy you did, and you're happy that you just didn't go watch another grant video because they don't explain to you how these actual business loans work. Like they may, but if they don't go as in depth, they don't have background knowledge, they don't have the expertise, they're not in the markets all the time, they're not communicating with their lenders and underwriters and officers and more effectively. If they were, it's not effective. And so much more. So you got a whole lot of things in this video. You were able to see the grants. Hello, Alice. You got to see the other resources for SBIR and the technology side, startups. There's the Community Advantage Program with the SBA 7A, giving about $350,000 about September 2022. I made a video for that. I don't know if it's in the description. I'll try to link you to it. We spoke about the grant opportunities that I linked you to in my document. You got to see the whole list of them from the top to the bottom. And I said if anything is going to be added, it will. See how I just closed my eyes there, guys? Like I'm thinking about it as I go through. I'm visualizing. And I'm not just speaking out of my, you know what? I'm actually giving you information that you're going to take with you, whether you're a startup or non-startup, and use it effectively. So we spoke about that. EIDL, what's happening there? Not a lot. PPP loan forgiveness, employee retention credit, 16 billion in grants, how you can search for some of those and what's expected in the future. Our current economic state, guys, that's most important right now, is it's going to demand of you to understand your bookkeeping and your accounting. It's going to allow you to build stronger connections with lenders. That's what you should be doing, is go to your preferred lender. If it's your bank, that's where I would start with. If you can't get approved there, then you have these options, but build that relationship up. Don't focus so much on, can I get the most amount in one take? Worry about what is my repayment? Can I take a little bit now and then come back and get more? Of course. That's called building a relationship. And don't jump from one to the next. Yes, you can take second positions, third positions if need be. And then we can buy out your advance, your loan, and keep it all underneath one. And then there are more. When you come through me, you're dealing with the best lenders and the best providers, the best team of underwriters, etc. And I know how to get you better approvals than most people will. So you don't know this, but I have great connections with them. And when an offer comes through to me, guess what? I communicate these things with you. I communicate these things with my lenders, my underwriters. Hey, Jimmy, can we get him a 15,000 loan? You approved him for 20,000. Is there any way we can get 15,000 so he has a lower repayment? No. And then there are other cases where yes, we can do it. Sometimes they won't. Because we got you the best thing. Can't always do that, but there are advantages to a lot of this, and there are more ways about it, especially when you have a connection with myself. So you got to understand all that. So understand your bookkeeping, understand your finances. It's not enough now to say I'm just a sales marketer guy or I'm in operations. No, cut that out. And you should be meeting regularly if you have a team in the financing side, the accounting, and saying, hey, I'm going to meet with them at least 2 to 3 times per month. And I know that may be a little bit more to some people, and it may not be enough for some others because you have other parts of the accounting that need more care and attention. You need to revisit them for what you're doing. I would definitely be doing it at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, if not more. So again, understand all that. And right now it's going to cause you to be more understanding of how you really need to use your funds and not having to scramble at the last second needing funds. You should already be prepared to have funds. That's why lines of credits work well, because you don't have to scramble right away. Oh, I have to meet payroll. Oh man, I need 50,000. I'm gonna go apply for that advance. No, you should be seeing these things ahead of time. This is why being a business owner and being in your business for some time, you get to see these things. Oh, if I'm a trucker, I'm gonna be traveling through the state of Nevada and California through Lake Tahoe. This is during August. Okay, I know this is a hard time to travel in. Less supply chain issues, so I'm gonna need an extra truck. See how I'm being prepared? That's how you prepare, but not I have a business expense. Man, I'll pay you back. I swear. No, don't cause yourself panic. And there are cases where it's okay, that happens, but get prepared. Even if it's a lump sum, it's not a line of credit, which not everybody will qualify for. See, I have questions. Let me move this ring, and I'll get to you. And then we spoke about as well the qualifications you'll need for a certain program and programs, because it can be pushed into many, and the lenders and so forth. Hi, Mike. How are you doing? You need to review this. Hope it will be available for review. Most definitely it will. This goes for everybody watching right now and on the replay. Is this will be uploaded directly onto YouTube, Mike. So once I'm gone here with the wind, then it will be uploaded. It should appear right away. I've seen some cases where it didn't because it needs to process the video. But yes, and I'll be also broadcasting it, if not today, probably today and tomorrow or tomorrow. So you guys have it. If you're a part of my email broadcasting series, you will get this. And if you look at this, I've said this before, if you're a person who says, oh, it's an hour's worth of video, oh, I got things to do, I got my back to go scratch, or I got my business to turn to, which I get. I have business owners today who I told I have an appointment with you at this time, but they're busy. I get things come up, and now I have to readjust my schedule. And then they may call me back, and it's okay. It happens. We readjust, but just understand that you have to plan things accordingly. So if somebody tells you at a certain time, stick to it. If you can't make it, let them know ahead of time so they're not calling you. Let them know, hey, we're not going to be able to make it at this time. Let's talk in about 30 minutes from now. You can give me a call. And then if it becomes an hour, then it just becomes pushed out. It's like, what's going on here? Like, I have energy and time I have to keep in together. But again, things arise and I get it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just know your schedule, because I know mine. If I say I'm going to see you at 10:30, and there are times where we have appointments and I know I've missed some of them because this time I was in Lake Tahoe, and then sometimes that project comes up and I have to go attend to something, a family matter, really quickly. So I sometimes forget to send you an email confirmation back, or I forget to say, hey, we're going to have to reschedule. I did a lot of that these last 4 to 5 days because I was on vacation. And I even gave people the opportunity on one of my last days while I was in my cabin in my Airbnb. I'm open now, or we can wait till next week. I'll give you the option. but I have 5-10 minutes. And in 5 and 10 minutes, I can give you everything you need. You think you need 20 minutes, 5 and 10 minutes. So now let me move over here. Thanks, logged in late. You are very welcome. No worries. And when you make it, you make it. It's not always about being the first one here and the last one out. It's about showing up and saying to yourself, I care about my education as much as I care about yours. And if you don't value what you do to learn all of this, then you're going to continuously be that person who emails me, but did you watch? No, I didn't watch the video. Went to the no. Excuses. And you know who excuses are for? I think you know how to end that sentence. And so stay on top of what you're doing, guys. You guys are doing the best. I see you guys on the trenches every single day. I think about it like, being in a war movie. You're going to battle every day. You see the trenches. You're like throwing grenades. You have your AR. You have you're doing all these kinds of things, and you're just so focused, and you're leading your troops. You're helping your employees. You're helping your customers every single day. But we have to look at a bigger picture and step back and observe it and ask ourselves, how are these segments of my business doing? And it does take a vacation for you to see that. And it took me that. Like I stepped away and I still worked an hour to two on my vacation. So I love helping you guys. All right. So that'll conclude everything from me in this video. I do appreciate your guys' time. I know it was a lengthy one, but it was very well worth it. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of it. If you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. Share this with other people who you feel will get value out of it. It can be a complete stranger, a friend, and or family member. So they stayed on top of this and they were educated, not just watching another grand video from somebody who has 1 billion subscribers, because you can have 1 billion subscribers. That doesn't mean much. What it means is how much impact are you making, and are you actually showing people more than just one thing? Are you actually showing them not just grants? Are you showing them what are the steps it takes, even when you don't see something, but I see it, and a lot more. And I'm not trying to bash anybody or saying that they're not doing that, but how extensively are they doing it? And are you really getting the education you need? So be careful of who you run to, who you go to, because it will be a treacherous road. It will be a bit difficult for a lot of you guys who don't understand. Oh, and one thing that I wanted to say is, this is one thing. That's what I thought about earlier. So let me quickly say this. So while going through the qualifications, average daily bank balances, I have a lot right now. A lot of the people that are turning up right now are real estate investors, people who want to get into real estate. This is their time right now. This is where I see a lot of applications coming from, whether it's traditional real estate financing or real estate financing to get expansion, this type of funding in a different manner. And then there's still a lot of other businesses that I get every single day. I'm just saying that real estate is like one that's been coming in heavy a lot, but I still get everything else a lot. And what I'm seeing is with real estate, you don't traditionally have consistent revenue. Quote me if I'm wrong. Some of you guys do. Like, well, I'm making $100,000 a month. Well, not everybody. You're investing in properties, flipping homes, rental, residential, commercial. Commercial is a little bit different, but now you're like, well, I'm not having a consistent revenue stream. I want 200,000, but for a property, but I'm only doing 4,000 a month, or maybe you're doing 50,000 a month, but your average daily bank balance is low. And so those are reasons that people who come to me and I go, like I have a lot of people right now who can qualify for about 1 year to 2 years, but after asking them and seeing in their bank statements what their average daily bank balance is, they have non-sufficient funds, negative days, are they frequently depositing? And when there's less of that, there's only one deposit. It's like we could have got you 1 year. You were doing 60 to 70,000 per month on average, and on your lowest month, you had a 750 FICO, so it's up there. You have 5+ years in business, what realistically could get you about 1 year to 2. But because you have lower average daily bank balances, it's a lot harder for us to shoot for about a 12-year term, 12-month term, I should say. And even in that case, it can still work. But in certain industries, it's harder to get you approved for those because of, your industry and your average daily bank balances. And so when you see that you may be able to get into that product, which gets you 1 year to 2 with 1 to 3% interest per month, but I say, hey, let's actually go to the cash advance product because we see your average daily bank balance is that. And I'm almost certain that if you go this way, they're going to decline you. They're going to revise you for a cash advance. And instead of giving you the 12 months, it might be just 11 months. It might be 10 months. You're up there. But if you meet the guidelines they can give you that. Just be careful. You might be getting too much debt over the course. So I appreciate you fully. This is my last hoorah here. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please refer to the description. And if I didn't say this already, I'd greatly appreciate you if you subscribed and clicked on the bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I come out with. And once more, I apologize if the screen is a little dark because, like I said, this HP computer, the lighting on it is a bit strange. I just got to go through it. It's a new one, and I haven't actually taken the time. And I know I've said that in the past videos, but I have to take a little bit of time to go through that. Hi, Dante. How are you doing? I think I sent you an email response back. Did you look into that? It might have landed in the spam box. I think I did it this weekend too. But if I didn't, I'll go back into it. I'm sure it's in there, though. You submitted the questionnaire. I'll have to revise that. But if you didn't, it'll be down below in the description. And that goes for everybody in here. And you're just coming in, I think, at the end of the video. And so, like I said, again, refer to the questionnaire, and that's how I will be able to help you out best. And all the other options will be down below. All right. That is everything from myself. Thank you all for tuning in. Take care.